Hey, it's me, the guy who kept saying he doesn't watch anime. I know that's super ironic considering I talk about Japanese TV shows, minus one of the biggest mediums out there, anime. I've talked about anime before on this channel, but those were paid viewer requests, and I'll bring those up again. So first, let's go from the beginning. It all started when I was born. Okay, maybe not that far. When I was younger, I was into three things: Lego, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon. In fact, I didn't know what Japan was. And when I was little, I was saying like, I don't know what a Japanese is. So I pretty much saw the latter two as pretty much any other cartoon. Of course, my elementary school also talked about Naruto and One Piece, but honestly, none of it interested me. I watched a few episodes of One Piece and Digimon, though that was only if Power Rangers wasn't on already. That was my basic exposure for my childhood years. I knew about these other shows, but I only stuck to Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. Except for one anime. My family wasn't really well off till later years, so my dad would drop us off, me and my sister, with a neighbor before school started. And of course, naturally, I would have cartoons because, you know, I'm a kid. What am I gonna do? Just sit around? So I would put on some cartoons. Naturally, I would put on whatever was on. I think it was Toonami. I'm pretty sure it was Toonami. Wow, that was probably a bad decision on my part, but there was one cartoon I remember, and this theme song was so catchy, it was stuck in my head years later. I'm not sure how obscure Gigantor, or in Japanese, Techijin 28 is, but to me as a kid, I just couldn't get enough of it. It might have even started my love for giant fighting robots. Which is ironic considering I don't watch Gundam. I tried watching Iron-Blooded Orphans, but it really bored me. But I do love the robots anyway. I do have a couple of Gundams back there. I love Gigantor. I love the designs. I love the tiny little stories that were in the show. I don't remember anything specific, but I do remember, I believe his name was Jimmy. He would have this little controller. He would press it like at the end of the show and he was like, Gigantor, we need you, and then Gigantor would go up and he would go like this, you know, his iconic little like muscle thing, like he's gonna fight, and that was really cool. I just absolutely adore Gigantor, and I do contribute that to my start for love of Japanese things, especially giant fighting robots. Aside from what I brought up earlier, Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, I believe Gigantor is one of my earliest nostalgic memories. I'll never forget the time waking up at like 5 a.m. being dropped off at my neighbor's, having an old piece of toast, because that's all we could have, like a piece of toast and sausage if we were lucky. And I would just put on some Toonami, I would watch Gigantor, and man, as an adult, I don't think I'll ever get rid of this. Like, I kind of want the black and white version too, because that's how I watched it in black and white. But man, it was just really cool, and I don't think I'll ever get rid of this. Like, I'll probably get rid of everything else first before I ever get rid of this. This is just, it's so nostalgic to me. Although surprisingly, I haven't seen the live action movie. I kind of want to, but the poster doesn't look that good and I'm scared to watch it. I'm scared to watch the colorized, like, later versions too. But to me, the black and white Gigantor from the very long, I don't even remember the year it came out. I think I'll stick with that for now, okay? Okay. Growing up through middle school and high school, I just didn't watch anime. Not that I was above it or that I thought it was bad or anything, I just didn't watch it. It simply didn't interest me. Obviously, I knew more about it during those times. I believe it was like the early 2000s, around that point, 2002. And I think if you guys were growing up around that time, you would know how big the quote-unquote emo anime phase would be to certain people, especially in high school. Like, if you couldn't tell, a lot of this is unscripted. I'm just remembering from high school and junior high and elementary, and man, emo blobs are so weird. Okay, moving on. I believe it was around junior high when I stopped watching Power Rangers and Pokemon and pretty much Yu-Gi-Oh! My basic idiotic thought was, oh, I'm older now. I grew past all that, and, well, you know. And I'll be honest, I was kind of like that until recently too. Not to the extent of back then, because obviously, you know, tokusatsu. But for the most part, I was like, yeah, I know about these other anime growing up. I know about, like, beyond Naruto and One Piece. I know about them. My friends talked about them. My IRL friends would bring up certain shows, but I was like, that's really cool. But I don't think I want to watch them. I did watch a few clips here and there. I remember my friends would turn on an episode of anime at one point, but Two of the biggest clips I remember are Rock Lee whenever he lets go of those weights. I thought that was super cool. It was amazing. It kind of made me want to watch Naruto, but I'll get to that another time. And one of my favorites was Jotaro versus Darby in Stardust Crusaders of JoJo's Part 3. I've watched that so many times. If you watch it on YouTube, there's this one clip that's like over 1 million views. I swear to you, over 1 million of those were me, because I watched that so many times. My basic thought was, again, anime just didn't grab me. It didn't interest me. I liked those clips, but not enough to watch full seasons. I believe Yu-Gi-Oh was the one exception when I was around high school, like second year of high school. That was when I went back to watch Yu-Gi-Oh from the beginning, because that was when Yu-Gi-Oh was more readily available on Netflix. So I watched through the Duelist Kingdom stuff, or I guess Yu-Gi-Oh, the Duel Monsters show. I watched through Yugioh GX. I watched through Zexal, 5Ds. I think Arc 5 was airing at that time. I thought pendulums were really dumb. I still think they're dumb. I'm really glad pendulums got nerfed, but that's a rant for another day. I still kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh! I enjoy certain things about it. I like playing the card game on my PC, but, you know, world event aside, even back then, I just didn't play the card game physically. I liked a lot of the shows. I can say good things about them, except Zexal. I think it's pronounced Zeal. But Yugioh GX will forever be one of my favorite animes ever. Even today, even after I watch so many animes, I think GX is still a really good anime. And I'm specifically talking about the dub, okay? The dub is so funny. I watched the sub a couple times, but man, nothing will top the dub for me. I just love it so much. I also remember watching a few other things on Toonami. Like, I don't remember any specific times, just I remember watching Toonami. I remember, like, Yu Yu Hakusho being on there a few times. I didn't watch that. Inuyasha was on a few times. Of course, I didn't watch that either. I did watch Spirited Away, like, way too many times as a kid. I know I watched it as a kid, but I didn't remember anything about it as an adult. Recently, I watched Spirited Away with a couple of friends, and it was really good. Yeah, I loved it. But as a kid, I was like, wow, this looks really pretty. And that's it. I don't remember any of the story. I didn't remember any of the story or the characters or anything. I just remembered a couple of key moments, but yeah, as an adult, Spirited Away is still really good. Once I got into college, that's when I figured, hey, I should probably try out this anime stuff more. One day I was browsing through Netflix and came across Death Note. I've heard about it, but knew nothing past the names and how a couple of the characters looked, so I gave it a shot. Best 12-episode anime I've ever seen. Okay, yeah, I know it's more than 12 episodes, but just the 12 episodes to me are some of the best I've seen in television, animated, live action, whatever history. It's just so good. The thrill, like Yagami vs. L, everything was great. I loved it. It was, I would even say it's a masterpiece, maybe even beyond a masterpiece at that point. The first 2 episodes were fantastic until Misora, I believe her name's Misora, let me look this up. Misa. Until Misa and Nier were introduced. I liked the show. I enjoyed the ending. I think the ending's really good, but nothing would have topped the first half of Death Note for me. Like, I would still, to this day, I would still remember almost everything to the detail of the first half of Death Note, but after that, it was just like, oh, Nier and Misa are here. Cool. Fun fact, I'm one of the 2 people on the planet that liked the live-action Netflix version of it with Willem Dafoe and one of the guys from the Naked Brothers band. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it. I don't know why. I know it's awful. Like, it's so bad it's good, I guess, in a way, but yeah. Sorry. I was making content around that time for YouTube, and that was when I got more paid requests. I think the first big video I made for a specific anime was Devilman Crybaby, and I'll just repeat it now for the rest of my anime videos. They were all good shows. That's about it. I like Devilman. I think Your Name and Michiko Ihachin are masterpieces. Dallas made a JoJo's Part 1 retrospective, and so on. Little by little, I've been exposed to anime, and more importantly, just more Japanese media in general. I think after a few of those requests, I decided to look on Netflix again, and this time I went with Neon Genesis Evangelion. It was okay. At least until the end. This giant fighting robot anime that I kept hearing was one of the greatest anime of all time only really grabbed me by the last couple episodes. Even still, I think that and the movie are so good that I'm kind of inclined to call them masterpieces. Maybe I'll make a video about it another anime another time. Speaking of well-loved giant fighting robot animes, Gurren Lagann. I got a lot of requests around that time, and one was this show that, of course, I knew nothing about, aside from the pointy shades that I've seen from time to time. Since this is a request, I'll save my thoughts for a future video, but Gurren Lagann is one of my favorite shows of all time. Period. Ever. Like, no joke. Past tokusatsu, past regular dramas, and whatever, Gurren Lagann's one of my favorites. Now here's where I really dive into anime. Early 2019. One of my friends says that I should watch My Hero Academia, so I agreed. I didn't watch it though. What I did was basically everything else that was suggested for me for request. More Digimon, Pretty Cure, Death Parade, even a few that interested me from the thumbnails alone, like Assassination Classroom, Madoka Magica, Ultraman, One Punch Man, and finally, My Hero Academia. What really got me more into anime was that I was starting to learn Japanese. Like, the actual language. These are my flashcards that I have for my, I believe this is katakana. Yeah, this is my katakana one. I have 3 notebooks over there on my desk. I have more books. I was actually learning to speak the language. The obvious joke would be that I'm learning Japanese just so I can watch anime without subtitles, and no, that's wrong. I'm actually learning Japanese to watch Kamen Rider without subtitles, and I can do that now. I can watch a Kamen Rider without subtitles. I can enjoy it. What am I doing with my life? Later on, another friend recommended me both Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia again. So this time, I really did watch them. I forget which I watched first, but I know I watched them side by side through Hulu. Demon Slayer immediately grabbed me by just how sad the first episode was, and I think the art style was one of my favorites out of any cartoon or anime. It's simply gorgeous. My Hero, on the other hand, I actually don't have too much to say about it. It's a bit basic to me, but I do like this take on superheroes and, well, Deku versus Todoroki is one of my favorite fights ever. Recently, my friend Gia introduced me to Keep Your Hands Off of Isaacan. It's one I saw everywhere on Twitter and only recognized the characters from it, though Gia said it's his favorite show ever too. I think it's okay. And here's the big one, Attack on Titan. Oh, I just realized that was a pun. Some of you might have seen on Twitter how I said I wasn't liking the show at all, and I even told a couple of my group chats that I didn't like a single thing about the show. Sorry, that was a lie. I love Attack on Titan. Season 1 was good, Season 2 was 100 times better, Season 3 blew my mind, and Season 4 this is just an amazing show. Now I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, duh. A long time ago when I hung out with my friends, they would put on Stardust Crusaders. I've been told about JoJo's from my viewers, but like every other anime, it didn't interest me. Especially the art style. When my friends had the show on, then it was basically all I could focus on. The characters, the stand battles, the music, I loved everything. Luckily they played it from episode 1, so I was able to continue when I got home, and man, I don't think I've ever fell down a rabbit hole as fast as I did with JoJo. During another trip, I went to Barnes & Noble's with some friends, a bookstore, and for some reason, I felt like I was gravitating towards the manga section. And now here's where I talk about manga stuff, but I'll keep it brief in that I don't like reading. When I was little, I read so much that as I grew up, I was like, I don't want to read anymore. I read like 100 books when I was little. I don't want to read anymore. But now I'm getting more interested in manga and American comic books. But just the manga being connected to like the anime, or you can watch one, you can read the other, whichever. That kind of grabbed me a lot more than it should, especially JoJo's. Because now that the JoJo collection, now that it's a lot easier to get into them, especially since part 1 is only 3 volumes and part 2 is only 4 volumes, I figured it was a lot easier to read, and I'm a speed reader. I got through a lot of it in like a day. I finished part 1 and 2 in the manga, so I really like JoJo's. Now, if only American comic books were this easy to read. Seriously, I want to get into American comic books. I want to read Marvel Civil War. But when I looked up, like, what to read, there was a whole list of, like, Fantastic Four, number whatever, Spider-Man, number one. I just want to read Civil War. That's all I want to read. Why isn't there an omnibus for, like, everything Civil War? I will pay $200 for, like, this 500-page omnibus. I just want to read it, but it's so hard. Manga is so easy to read. How come American comic books have their stories spread out everywhere? I want to read Civil War, guys. But it's really hard to. Maybe one day. So I believe I picked up Japanese kanji because, you know, I'm still learning, but kanji is the one thing I still need to get into. So obviously I was going to get a Japanese book. Really good book, by the way. I really liked it a lot. But I picked up Part 4, Volume 1. I should have picked up Volume 2 because the moment I finished this, I was like, I should have bought more of these because this was really, really good. I know a lot more about JoJo's now. Like, I know a lot more. Part 4 might be my favorite, but I'm reading through Steel Ball Run right now. Part 7 Steel Ball Run is just super good. I think it might be one of my favorite media ever. Like, just the manga, since the anime is not going to come out for like what, another 10 years at this point, but like just the manga alone is really good. I love Stardust Crusaders, of course, part 1 and 2, yada yada. But yeah, I got this. You probably already saw through the footage that I got way more JoJo's manga now. I also got the time I got reincarnated as a slime. I remember I was looking through Ami Ami at one point. I saw a figure of Rimuru, but in their human form, and I thought, wow, that's a really cool design. I wonder what that is. And then I saw that it was from this story. And when I went to Barnes and Nobles, I saw this on the bookshelf, and I was like, wow, I'm really interested in that. I didn't buy it then, because I wasn't that interested in it, but I did see it, and I was like, maybe one day I'll purchase this. And so by fate, like the next weekend after I went to that bookstore, my other friends and I went to another bookstore, and that was there. So I bought 5 copies, or the five volumes of it. It's really good. I don't think it's like the greatest thing ever, but it's good. I like this a lot. It might be one of the most basic medieval-ish fantasy-like stories, you know, with dragons and stuff. It might be super basic, but I like it enough. I did like it enough to buy 5 volumes of it, so yeah, that has to account for something. I definitely want a Rimuru, at least a slime or their human version. I really want more figures of that. So yeah, I really like this book, but nothing will top JoJo's for me. Really love JoJo's. And now here we are today. As you saw before, I got way more JoJo's. More is coming, more is on the way, because I want to complete as much as I can, at least with the English official versions. Part 5 should be coming out this year, and I'm definitely going to pick those up like day one. I really want to read Part 5. I definitely want to read an official version of Steel Ball Run, but so far it's really good. And yeah, a lot of this is just, I guess, my journey. I know, like, this is a Tokusatsu channel, and we talk about like our Tokusatsu Kamen Rider journey and like how we start. So in a way, this is my journey of how I got into anime and now manga. I never thought I would be into this stuff, honestly, because, you know, in like the 5 anime videos I made, I always started with, I'm not into anime. So please take this from a guy who doesn't watch anime. And man, I just really love this stuff. And I love that I'm able to talk to you guys about it. So, wow, can't believe I got this far. I did ask on Twitter for some recommendations on anime and manga. I was super overwhelmed. There was like I think it's close to 100 comments or replies by now with like so many anime to watch. And I was like, whoa, okay, let me write this down. And I guess I'll extend that to the YouTube audience. So if you guys have any recommendations for me to read or watch, please specify. Please specify on if it's manga or anime or both. Then I'm down for it. I have a huge list already on my computer. I have a huge list of things I want to read and watch. But for now, I guess that'll be pretty much it for this video. If you watched this far, then thanks for hearing me ramble. And I guess I'll say it now, in that next year in 2022, I want to make more anime videos because this year is like full of Kamen Rider, History of Kamen Rider. Yes, I'm still working on those. So next year I want to focus more on more Japanese media like anime and manga. A history of JoJo's has been in my mind for a while. I know I made a retrospective on part 1, but that was more Dallas. So maybe a history of JoJo's would be kind of cool. I don't know. I'll think about it. So I don't normally ramble like this. So I really appreciate if you watch through the end. Honestly, like I was talking to some people and I was like, I don't know if I should post this video because it's not normally what I do. But if you're here, then hey, I appreciate it. You probably noticed my Marcosatsu shirt. I like having the logo here. You can buy them on Teespring. It's integrated on my YouTube channel now, so that's cool. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'll stop rambling, and I need to go back to Steel Ball Run. It's really, really good. I love Steel Ball Run. I love it so much. Okay. With all that being said, see you next time.